quite a lot of experience with remote work. At the first, find your voice. So this is the second important point. Or the third is focus. The fourth is the fourth is so focus and show up, find your voice, focus and deliver. So these are the most important factors of remote work. The most important part of remote work, the first one is showing up. So you have to show up. The second one is find your voice. The third one is focus. The fourth is deliver. What does each of these mean, right? Um, what does each of these mean, right? And you can think of each item as a way to, so let's see. So show up means so this means open your laptop, ensure it's connected to the Wi-Fi or internet. Ensure show up really means laptop, internet, coffee, context. No, I want to use context is task. Task of the day, right? So laptop, internet, task of the day. So by showing up, what I mean is, um, if you get a text and you were working on a certain document and then someone texts you is like, hey, can I get a response about this, and can you be able to actually answer? And yep, so that is if you don't have a laptop, if you don't have internet, if you don't know your task of the day, um let's just do task, laptop, internet, task, right? And find your voice means how do you communicate, right? How do you communicate? And then focus means sit down. Deliver means deliver means Lunch means launch means showcase. So I'm trying to find words that relate to this to give you like a context so that it will be easy to remember, right? So, but just focus doesn't necessarily mean sit down, but in the context of remote work, it's going to require you to sit down and manage your I don't like using the word manage your energy because it's kind of corny, right? But it is what it really is. Like you need to sit down for long hours to actually build something and get it done. Like this is the most important part. If you don't have a way that you can sit down for three to many hours in a day, there's you're not going to be able to get this done, right? And um think of it like let's say you have a task and your task is to write a document that is going to help a company, a fintech company or an e-commerce company. Let's say you have to write product descriptions for an e-commerce company. Let's say that's your task, right? If that's your task, my guess is there's like tens or hundreds of products, and there's no way you're going to get that done unless you can actually sit down and get to the task and try and get to do it. And focus is trained, which means it can come easy to some, harder to others, but you just have to find your own lane and your best way to actually achieve this. So focus, you have to actually focus and finding your voice. How do you communicate? A lot of people think for you to communicate you have to be to, you, you need to find your voice. By this what I mean is how best can you share a message and ensure it doesn't get lost in context. um how do you say something so clear 90% of the people would understand it? There's different means of communicating, and you can think of writing, you can think of art, you can think of music, um, you can think of you need to find a way to communicate if you are a remote worker, like, and you need to find like how do you best communicate, how do you communicate your frustration, how do you communicate your progress, how do you communicate. So a lot of remote work comes down to this, because if you don't communicate, uh the the person who's like on the other side of like the other side of let's say you're working with someone who's in South America, like this person surely has no idea what you're trying to um or your state of life or what you're trying to achieve. So this person literally cannot put themselves in your shoe, and they do not understand your frustration or your internet troubles or your security, your country instability, or so there's a lot of these things that you need to think through and um, have a way to communicate properly. I usually think I'm going to go live for a long time, and then I find myself wanting to end early, but I guess it's not early because it's like Yeah, but that's basically it. Find your voice, find a way to communicate. Is it text? Is it speaking? Is it, yeah? And then focus, sit down, stay at the task, get it done. Get it done one by one. This is like the best way I can explain focus. It's like sit down, stay at the task, get it done one by one. Yeah. So this is the best way I can explain focus. It's just sitting down, looking at what you have to get done, and getting it done, because there's no other way past this specific part. Sit down, look at what you have to get done, and get it done. And sometimes it's not going to mean that you have to actually sit down. Sometimes it's going to mean that you have to like um you can focus on a goal, you can focus on um yeah, so it's really going to depend. And then this is very important. You need to showcase, because you need you need people to know that you have to advocate for yourself. If you don't, and this is applies to finding your voice as well, right? So if you find your best way to express yourself, like how do you best express yourself? How do you express your frustration? How do you express um your almost anything, right? So if you find the best way to do this, chances are you're going to have less of a hard time showcasing, because you need to showcase for you to for people to understand. Again, this is like remote, like we are not in the same room. So how do you make yourself stand out to a point where I can't ignore what you've done? So it, but overall it's like how do you ensure that um the people that you work with understand the value you've created? So these are the these are the important part of remote work. Show up, find your voice, focus, deliver, and not just deliver but showcase. Like you need to showcase what is it that you're working on. And because like I'm not in the room with you, like I am probably somewhere else, and so how do you make sure that whatever you've done is very clear and your value is seen? Because if you miss this part, no one is going to see what you have done. So what have you done? What was the outcome of your focus? And find your voice and showcase. So these are like the four important aspects of a remote team, or a remote worker, or working remotely. And I'm talking from experience, because I have done this for like, I have worked remotely for like 7 or so years. So I understand what it means. Like this is basically it. This is